we found a home and somebody allowed me to be who I am. There's so many mothers out there like me. And, everybody want a Cosby mama. Everybody mama ain't like that.
Exactly.
Some people mama really jacked them up like I did in the first season. Some people mothers really use the language I use. I mean, they go to corporate work and play like they don't. But when they come home and pull out their wig, they just a thug out as I am. One of the things I get asked a lot at my comedy show, and I don't know why people think this, they say, "Is that your husband?" I'm like, "That is not my husband." "Are those your kids?" I'm like, "Do y'all know this is TV?" Like, "That's not your real family. Y'all look alike." I say, "They're actors."
Hello, everyone. I'm Brande Victorian, and welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. If you're interested in programming like this from the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the stars of the Miss Pat Show: Patricia Williams, J. Bernard Calloway, Vince Swann, Briyana Guadalupe, and Theodore Barnes. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you? It is a pleasure to be here and see you all. I am a fan of this show. And I first really just want to say congratulations, because I do think this show has really ushered in a new era of the Black family sitcom. And that's really where I want to start the conversation. We have not seen anything like this, from the language to the topics you tackle to the relatability with the family dynamics. And I really feel like this is a show that couldn't live anywhere else but BET Plus, and rightfully so. And Pat, I would love if you could start to talk about the journey of even bringing the show to fruition to begin with, and the agency you've really been given to be able to represent your own story and, the lives of Black people in a different way than we've seen.
Well, it took 5 years to get the show even out there.
Okay.
I always call it I hate to use this word, the prostitute of Hollywood. Everybody had a little Miss Pat show. We was jumped around everywhere. It was so many times we thought we had a home. So many times we thought we was going to make it. And you just hoping one day somebody gets you off that corner, and BET Plus came along. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a comedian. This is the best I can do this interview. Okay. That is finally BET Plus came along and got us off that corner. It was a journey. It was a lot of letdown, but with me and the co-creator Jordan Cooper, not one time we didn't think we was going to find a home. We knew we was doing something different, especially with the language and in the topics that we both wanted to tackle. I was like, I don't know where we're going to land at. And just so happened BET, a year before they even picked us up, they started a new streaming service. And I had to say, you have to mess with people who mess with you. And so we found a home, and somebody allowed me to be who I am. There's so many mothers out there like me. And, everybody want a Cosby mama. Everybody mama ain't like that.
Exactly.
Some people mama really jacked them up like I did in the first season. Some people mothers really use the language I use. I mean, they go to corporate work and play like they don't. But when they come home and pull out their wig, they just a thug out as I am. And now that I've been doing stand-up almost 20 years, and people always tell me, thank you for giving us a voice. Yeah. And I was like, I knew it was out there. We just had to find somebody that allowed me to be me to show the rest of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love too, the format is also unique. It reminds me of like those early episodes of Martin where he would do like a monologue beforehand, and then you get into the episode. You talk about starting, with your stand-up and that roots, and then getting into, the plot.
Let me just say that is not my stand-up. Okay. Those monologues are written every week.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
That is not my stand-up. It's not what Jerry Seinfeld did. Again, me and the co-creator, he was like, I want you to do a monologue. And I said, I'll do one, but I was hoping that the people didn't like them, because I didn't like doing them.
Okay.
But they caught on, and people, it really tells the story before it shows you the episode, and people fell in love with them. Girl, you ought to see me struggling on that set with the monologue.
Because it's not your words, or what?
No, it's my words, but a lot of times they written the day before.
Okay.
Because we have to really fill out the episode. It's just, the whole episode is written way before the monologue, and sometimes it takes a day before for us to even know what we're gonna say. So when we get it there and we put it together, it really ended up working out. Okay. And people love the monologue. Me personally, it's some work for me.
Understood. Well, in episode 1, season 1, I feel like really set the tone, for the entire show as a whole, and started with this strong topic of gun violence. And I think it really showed the audience how you were going to tackle these serious issues, but with comedy, in a way that makes them more digestible. But that's also not easy to do. Can each of you talk about, well, first of all, I would love to know, the writer's room, who's in there, what's going on, but also your collaboration with the writers and how, you shape your own lines, your own storylines, and just working together with them to shape the episodes.
Well, in the writer's room, it's mostly people we know. My daughter is there, comedians is there, personal people who knows my voice is there. And that first episode was just based out of my daughter's high school. I lived in a place called Plainfield, Indiana. At the time, white kids was on a rampage, was shooting up the school. And I go to wake her up one day, and she was like, I ain't going to that fool with them white people today. And I was like, you can't stop life because they shooting up the school, just duck and go on to school. And I told that story to the co-creator. He's like, that's the pilot. I was like, gun violence? I was like, how are we going to make gun violence? I mean, I told the story to him funny, but I didn't think it was going to come off on TV as well as it did. Then we mixed in a few things with Jack and Theodore up in the pilot. So it worked out pretty good.
And what's been, some of your other, interactions with the writers and just shaping, your characters?
The first season, I just sat in the writer's room and told stories. And that's how we came up with all 10 episodes. It was just things that happened. The show is about 90% of my life. Okay. Like literally, I go into the writing room like, let me tell y'all this, let me tell y'all that. And so now they start kicking me out because they say I talk too long. But so we developed the show, honestly, during the off season. I just tell stories and we come up with ideas to talk about. And also the co-creator come in with some serious topics that he wants to talk about too. And so that's what makes the show so great, because BET Plus let us push the envelope and say it the real way.
Absolutely. How unique of an experience has that been for you all as actors to be able to tackle these topics like you do with this show?
Well, for me, I would say talking about the pilot in particular, that's what brought my attention to the show. Like that was my audition initially. And so for me, I connected to it because I've had those thoughts of being scared to go to school because of gun violence. And even now, I mean, not being in school, but seeing it on TV, like I can only imagine how kids feel to feel not safe to go get an education, So for me, it was really a nice surprise to see a script that talked about things that I felt, but also done with like a dose of comedy. So you can like take it in a better way. It's not just like in your face, and also to be able to be around, like she said, her daughter's in the writer's room. So like to be able to talk to the person that you're playing, It's super cool because it's like, you really went through this, like, this is how you feel. And I don't think a lot of people get that experience. So it was really cool.
Absolutely.
I think that relevancy and relatability with each episode and each topic that we speak about is very important as far as demographics are concerned. Because I think a lot of time when you have a Black show, people expect only Black people to watch it and be able to relate to it. But, us being able to take Miss Pat's story and tell it and open the gulf of storytelling to all walks of life. They can, I always say this, any group of people can step into these shoes and relate to the given circumstances and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what makes our show really, really relevant in being able to deal, with those issues and laugh at them, laughing at that pain is important. Pat, when she lived through a lot of pain, and I'm so grateful and honored to be a part of that puzzle, to be able to tell that story and present it to the world and give us something fresh and new to look at and open perspectives and open consciousness and get people to talking, and folks talking that never get a chance to really speak to each other about things. Here's that way to do it, so.
And I really felt that with the trigger warning episode. It really touched on the idea, first of all, sometimes there's pain that we need to talk about. Everything isn't a laughing matter, which I love that episode really touched on. But then also kind of the larger conversation around comedy and where it stands and what do we joke about, what's comfortable, what's not. Can you kind of talk about shaping that episode in particular and just the sensitivities around it and choosing, to touch on it, on sexual assault in the episode?
So that episode, we were supposed to do it in the first season.
Okay.
And so that episode was very painful for me because Jordan came to me in the first episode. The first season, he said, let's do it in the first season. And that was a story that I didn't really talk public about. My mama boyfriend touching me for all of those years. And so we wrote an episode for it. And I went to BET Plus. I went to Jordan and we went to BET Plus and we was like, I want to pull it. And I want to pull it because I'm not ready to tell it. I'm not comfortable. I still have, it's still a lot of pain behind it. And so when we finally did do it, I think me and Jordan really sat down and I was able to really spill a lot of stuff that I hadn't talked about. And we was able to come up with an episode that I was comfortable with. But that was even filming it. I remember walking off the stage and Jordan grabbing me and he was boohooing crying. And I'm old thug, so I really try not to cry on stage. But on the way home, I remember couldn't even hardly drive for being able to tell that story publicly like that.
Yeah.
So when we dig deep like that into my life, it's not just for me. It's also for people out there that went through. I remember Tammy pulling me to the side and said, "You're telling my story too." And I remember taping it that day and the way she reacted in that kitchen scene. And I said, I told Jordan, I said, I think Tammy been through what I've been through. Because she never, nobody talks about what they've been through like I do. Yeah. And so after we did the whole ending part, and she pulled me to the side and she said, thank you, because I've never talked about that. Yeah. But that episode was a lot of crying, in my car. It was a lot of pain. It was hard. That was a hard episode for me.
I believe.
But I felt free walking away that night.
Thank you for doing that, honestly. And I wondered the same, honestly, with the Don't Touch My Hair episode. That one was also very layered, but also felt very personal. And I wonder for you in that moment also, how comfortable was it being that vulnerable about that story? Just, that accepted story that we all kind of go through at some point.
That was pain for my mother, because, Black mothers, they quick say, sit your nap head. Not knowing that that's what you're thinking, and then you become ashamed of your hair. I remember when weave came out I'm 50. I remember when weave came out in the late 90s. It was like a rescue for bald head chicks. Oh my God, we finally had hair. We finally can look like something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When your little ponytail won't grow that long. And so we started to cover up because you could no longer call me nappy. You could no longer call me bald headed. And I wore weave for so long. And when he came to me, and when I came to him with the idea, I said, we really need to show Black hair in the Black form for real. Yeah. And when he asked me to take off my wig, and I was like, on TV, that was hard because I'm not used to my hair, like my daughter, Gabriella, she wears her natural hair. I'm not as comfortable with my natural hair. I was very uncomfortable. But we talked about it and people's like, you got all this hair and you covering it up? But that was painful too. Yeah. That was very painful because a lot of that pain came from a little girl of what my mama said to me. But I also wanted people to heal because I know other Black women and other women of color have been through the same thing.
Yeah. And I thought it was really special too, the relationship with Pat and Terry in that moment of kind of working through something uncomfortable, and you make a joke you didn't mean to intentionally hurt someone, then you realize it's sort of your own pain coming up in that moment. Can you all talk about being husband and wife and showing that dynamic, and I think of a healthy Black relationship?
Well,
please go ahead, Pat.
Well, we're not perfect, because he's based off my real husband. Nobody marriage is perfect. They tell you they got a perfect marriage, they lying. So,
That's right.
What I like is the ups and downs that a real. I'm sorry. I'm just getting over a cold. What I like is the ups and downs of a real relationship. We're not perfect, He say the wrong things sometimes, and he hurts my feelings. But the whole thing is to work through your pain, work through your marriage, not to just call it quit. But you gonna have those ups and downs.
That's right.
When he said that about my hair, I really felt that. I didn't feel it coming from my real husband. I felt it more coming from my mother. And so, and I remember telling George, I was like, why did I feel that when you wrote him to say that for me? He's like, well, you're supposed to feel it. And so it was really genuine, like when we did make back up in the end.
Yeah, I ditto, Pat. And, for me, especially that part, when I'm sitting in a bed and, that when that actually happens, that event, and I'm doing her hair, a lot of times I think that, wives and husbands don't realize, it's apples and oranges. I might say something that may offend her and don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And I might catch it later. And then I'm like, oh my God, this whole time I didn't realize that I insulted her. This is why she's acting this way. This happens in real life. Once again, this is what's so prolific about the show is that, we write about these circumstances, but it's such a reality. It's so close to home a lot of times that, sometimes you're like, oh man, is this me, Jay Bernard, reacting to this? Or is this Terry in the story reacting to this? And the great thing about Pat and I is that I think that we have really great chemistry. And, it ain't peaches and cream every day, but at the same time, we respect the work. We respect her story. She respects everybody that comes into the set. We all come in ready as professionals every single day to have fun, to tell the story, and to create. And, that chemistry is what makes our show what it is, what makes that connection happen. Because people tell me all the time, he say, man, look like y'all having a ball up there. It's like, we really are having a great time. It's you know what I'm saying? It's work, but it's like, man, we having a great time out there. So once again, Pat, thank you so much for your story, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
One of the things I get asked a lot at my comedy show, and I don't know why people think this, they say, is that your husband? I'm like, that is not my husband. Are those your kids? I'm like, do y'all know this is TV? That's not your real family. Y'all look alike. I say, they're actors. Every time, actors, actresses, or whatever. People got hired to play my family. And so that let me know how real people are invested into this show. And because they be like, oh my God, I just love Garyana. She lost weight. I was like, that is not Gary. I be like, the real Garyana still big. Lady told me this weekend, Garyana lost all that weight. I said, that is not Garyana, boo-boo. That is the real Garyana is for that Garyana, okay?
Oh my God. This is what happens every day, sis.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Oh my God.
That was my fear coming into this. A joke would be cracked and I wouldn't even be able to stop laughing.
One lady told me the last time I performed, she said, you gonna leave MF and Junebug alone. I'm sick of you messing with my Junebug. I'm like, lady, get out of my face. Those people get high for me to jack them up, okay?
Exactly.
If y'all could hear what the people say each and every week about this show when I hit the stage, I mean, like I had to put a lady out last week for Hollywood. F them kids, Terry. That's what she did. She wouldn't stop hollering at her. I was like, you gotta go. You gotta go. This ain't the Miss Pat show. I'm performing today. So people are really invested in because I think we're really hitting home with topics that they wanted to see on TV. They love how Black we are. Yeah. They love how unique we are. And it's just not Black people, it's people from all walks of life. Like Jay Bernard said, anybody can step into this shoe and it still would be a funny family with the topics that we tackle.
Yep. And I wanted to hear from the younger actors too about playing, their children. I think Vincent was your character who said a line, you allowed me to be the first Black kid in history to tell their mother she was wrong and live to tell about it. And I think too, Briyana, like your character will often, kind of educate their parents on issues and things like that. Can you talk about kind of showing a different dynamic with the child-parent relationships with this show?
Yeah, it's interesting. Definitely the episode where Ashley, played by Brittany Inge, when she came out to a mother, and the episode about pronouns and learning, teaching Pat that the generation that she comes from, the language that she uses isn't necessarily, favorite today, and her learning that. And it was really interesting watching that episode, because from her intent and her dynamic, her point of view of it is, it's just a joke. Like, I don't necessarily mean that, but sometimes words hurt. And so that's where our generation was coming in with it. So those moments I feel like are extremely important to show on television, because like to Jay Bernard's point, that happens in a white household, that happens in a Black household, that happens in a Hispanic household. And it's a universal issues that we're tackling as a family, that it doesn't matter what color you are. These are things that we all, go through, and to actually show that whole parent dynamic without getting our head bashed in by our parents, and be able to, speak up and voice our opinion, and them allowing us to be heard is very important to show.
Man, for sure. And I think too, speaking of all walks of life and colors and ages, everybody has these conversations, the ones that you're not supposed to have, or you're not supposed to have, or the ones you're not, you shouldn't necessarily speak on. But it just seems like, with us, we having the conversations, for you guys and for people. And I think that's where it really hits home too, is because I get a lot of people like, man, my mama said the same thing, or my dad did the same thing, or I got the same relationship with my brother. And, it's some days it's this, some days it's that. But at the end of the day, we love each other. And, our whole purpose is to, bring each other up and teach each other, because the world is constantly evolving. And I think that's one of the hardest things, is you got to move with it. Even with, everything that's going on right now, we kind of got to have ourselves, while having others. And it's tough. And I think that's where we come in, and we kind of put that blanket of love and that blanket of laughter to where it's like, it's okay. We can, let's say this, let's laugh about it, but let's be for real. And, let's come together and say, okay, yeah, this hurt me, but I understand where you're coming from. So I think that's huge. And especially with Black folks and, trauma and mental illness and everything that's going on, we gotta talk. Like, we have to talk. The mind is so powerful, and, not talking, not expressing yourself is really, it is huge. It's really huge.
I would say for me, my character, it's fun to be the voice of reason, because I feel like everybody else around me is insane. You know what I mean? Let me tell you what the real deal is, Ma. You can't
really.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's kind of like the killjoy a little bit. Like, sorry to break the party, but I want to do this. So I think sometimes it's like, I want to say something else besides that. But then other times it's like, I do that in real life though. Like, my real mom says stuff all the time she didn't say. So, and honestly, like, a lot of it is not acting. Like, it's Miss Pat really would think that's okay to say. So, like, if we're sitting on a couch and we just chill, I'd be like, you can't say that. You can't, you know what I mean? Right. So a lot of the lines, they just become like second nature, to be honest. It's like, but it's definitely fun, and it's really cool to play off of all these people here and kind of learn everybody's dynamic. But like, we really are a family. So it's just, it just becomes like, this is just what it is. But even being on this call, I'm like, I miss you guys. Like, it's just, we have a lot of fun. We have so much.
Miss you too, lady.
I miss y'all too, man.
Yeah, man.
I do miss you guys.
It's good seeing you too, Junebug. I ain't seen Junebug in a minute, man. It's good seeing your face.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we all just saw each other in New York.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I also want to touch a little bit on representation of Black men as well. Like, I loved the Got to Be More Careful episode where Terry is profiled by one of the neighbors. And then there's, initially just this element of protection of, Pat and, the whole family, like, not even wanting to tell Terry because what that would do to his spirit. And then you see this sadness when he does learn, that he was profiled. But I would love if you all could kind of talk about not playing into stereotypes. I think about Black men and just showing the diversity, even as young Black men, and then as a Black father, a stepfather, and all of that. Can you kind of speak to your characters in that way?
Well, I'll start. I mean, I think once people move unfortunately, the color from in front of the father the husband or the wife, we can be able to see people for who they truly are. I think color just blinds people, man. And I think that's kind of where racism starts. Black, white theater, white theater, this and that. You know, it's a theater, it's a husband, it's a wife, it's a daughter, it's a son that's dealing with these circumstances. And to be able to be represented, for me to represent the fathers in the way that's so well written in this piece, it means a lot to me because it lets people understand the nuance that comes with being who we are. We're not just one-sided, you know, we're not just angry, you know, so we don't slap and beat up our wives and leave, you know, get up and walk out the house and leave our kids. There's so many great brothers that's out there that are real men and take care of their family, are providers and are anchors for their family. And it's great for the world to see that so they can get out of that stereotype and be like, hey, you know, this is just a human being dealing with human conditions. Yeah. And once again, I thank the gods of the entertainment world that we're in a position and where with people like Pat and Jordan and the other executive producers allow us to live in these characters and allow us to have a voice on set. And we chop it up and we talk about things and find out what works from Junebug all the way. I ain't gonna say all the way to who. You ain't gonna get me in trouble like that, but you know when I'm I ain't trying to do my job. But you know what I'm saying? But we all have these relationships with each other and then as a whole. And I'm telling you, man, when we shoot live and the audience is out there, man, it's like it's game time. We out there having the ball. You know, Pat keeps everybody going, but at the same time, we're looking at each other. We eyeing each other. We listening to what we're saying. We asking Jordan if things work. Jordan runs in and throws us new lines and things of that nature like that. So to be able to go from that foundation as the father in this piece and be able to build on that around Pat's story is just phenomenal because I got to tell you, it don't happen like this all the time with these type of relationships and coming into work. And truly, you know, I dig seeing these people every day. I really do. I love going into work every day. It's not a chore. I don't feel like I'm about to go outside and cut grass. Okay. you know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
I think with that piece, what I like most about that episode is like how, as the Black woman of this Black husband, the protection level I went to protect him from even experiencing that because you know it's going on so much in the real world. Yeah. And what me and Tammy Roman did to protect Terry from that, to let him know he ain't who you really think he is.
Exactly.
And that's what I really liked about that episode because you know how we are. We go beyond, above and beyond for all men, especially not because they already beat down so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always tell my boys, your first strike in this country, I hate to say it, is you're born Black. Yeah. The second strike is you're a Black man. So I'm here to protect you. And with that episode, that's what we did for Terry. We went above and beyond to let him know, forget what the world think. You still our king here. And then he had to throw the damn cake away.
I want to go eat that cake, Pat. Right. I want to go eat that cake. Try. But see, all of that is therapeutic in itself. What Pat is saying, like I think Brande hinted on it earlier. Theo did the mental and psychological warfare that we have as a culture and understanding each other and talking and communicating about things and protecting one another, like Pat said. That means so much. If a man comes home and know that everybody up in that house got his back no matter what, and vice versa, man, listen, this will eliminate the crabs in the bucket mentality. It will eliminate that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And I love too, I think, Theo, with your character too, of just like he's just a normal Black teen. You know, I think that to Jay's point of, you know, not a Black teen behaving in a certain way. I'm a young kid. I'm on Snapchat. I'm doing, things all kids do. So I love seeing that with your character. Also. So Pat, I think it was early in the season 1, you made a joke like the only person who could cancel me is Black Twitter. I did some searching, could not find anything negative about Miss Pat's show, just overwhelming positive.
Oh, they tried me. They tried.
I'm sure it's for moments.
But you know what I did? I went all over to I called my fan base my crack baby, and I put them white women on who knew how to write a letter, and they left me alone. They tried me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write a letter.
I got the white women that know how to write a letter, baby. And I said, hey, crack, baby, they over here on Black Twitter. And y'all don't
my God.
know. They went right on over there marching like little soldiers. Y'all off this show.
Wow.
It ended up going viral.
Right.
I got to, you got to have somebody for everything. You start talking that mess about the Mid-Pat show, I'm going to get my little white women over there who know how to write a letter.
Okay.
Who going to go straight to the manager. And they went straight to the manager on them, and they left us alone.
That's the secret. Okay.
I should be telling my secret.
Really though, I mean, people love this show. I saw someone was like, this is the best thing like BET has done in 10 years. Like they really are excited about the narratives and around that. Can you just talk about, seeing that response for people, which is not easy to do. We're critical, of what we do. And so just knowing that people embrace this series and your story.
That's one of the things we wanted. We want people to ask for more. Hey, I'm so excited about this past show, but I'm not gonna lie. They'll BET will drop it, and then the next week they knocking on my Instagram. Where the next season at? I'm like, excuse me, I'm human. We don't care. No matter what I post, they'll be like, forget that. What about this past show? I'm like, I'm not even talking about the Miss Pat. They don't want to hear nothing but the Miss Pat show, which is it's really touching because it took 5 years to get here. We didn't know. We knew we had something special, but I didn't know it was gonna do what it did. And I'm so appreciative of people appreciating the show, loving the show, because there was so many times that I thought a lot of people wasn't going to get to see the show. I remember when we shot the pilot and Theodore was on the age, and I told everybody, come to my hotel room and watch it, just in case you don't ever get to see it no more. I told Theodore, Mom, I said, I'm not a freak, but I just want him to see the show. Because
I never heard this story before.
You never heard this story?
They never heard this story.
This would be.
Use it.
It's the story.
What?
So when they didn't know, they was taking so long to pick it up at Hulu, and I just felt like from day one, it's a whole nother story. I pick up on spirits. I just know from day one what's right and who's right. I'm just being honest with you. God tell me quick. And I knew Hulu wasn't going to pick it up. And I tried to tell everybody the night we were shooting it. And I pulled Jordan, I said, Hulu is not going to pick up this show. They was like, you crazy, we killing it. I said, my spirit just told me that little man who wrapped his legs around 3 times, it ain't going to happen. I said, he only got no shoulders. So make a long story short, it took him almost a year. They thought I was crazy. But I knew I told them, I said, this is not our home, but we're going to find a home. And so I didn't know what we was going to end up at, and they hadn't dropped it yet. So I said, look, I don't know what they're going to do. I said, but I want y'all to come see this masterpiece. So I invited everybody to my hotel, Vince, Briyana, and Theodore, because they was in LA while I was still sitting there waiting. But Theodore was on the age. So I said, Theodore, I called his mom. I said, I'm not a freak, but he can come over here and watch the show. Like for him to. I invited him over to watch it because I didn't know if it was going to get out. Yeah. And I just wanted them to see how good it was.
Yeah.
So I'm so appreciative that, people is loving it. I'm so appreciative that we represent a Black family that's never been represented before.
Absolutely. And now we're looking at a 3rd season, and I'm going to be that annoying person to beg and know what you can tell us about the next season. It ended season 2 on a very emotional note. I know fans are eager to know, what will happen next. So what can you tell us?
BET is on the line. So
what she said. What she said. Right.
It's mostly it's mostly about my comedy career touring.
Okay.
So me and Terry have some come to Jesus moment there, to get it back on track. But next year is mostly about me touring, and you see my career start to develop.
We'll be waiting. Until then, I would love to
say this. It's funnier. It's even better than the 2nd season.
Okay.
I would say that. And and thank God for BET. BET Plus. We did the second season, third season back to back, and we was able to pull it. It's to me, it's funnier than the second season, and the second season is good.
Yeah. Okay. You set the bar with that one. Well, we're going to wrap up in just a moment, but I would love if you could each just say, you know, what you love about this series, your character, and just having this experience with the Miss Pat show.
Well, I'll go.
I love being Miss Pat. Is easy. I don't have to pronounce all my words right. I don't created my own language, Patinism. So
Patinism. How you spell that, Pat? How you spell
I don't know. I love saying.
No, she don't know.
I love
Patinism. I love
saying. I love what used to cause me pain, and I get to see so many people that can, even though it's dark, they can laugh at it. And that's just one of the things that I always try to teach on and off stage. When you can laugh at it, you got control of it. So that's what I love about the Miss Pat show. I can actually put out the darkest things in my life and realize that people can relate and we can all laugh at it together. That's what I love about it.
For me, I just love being able to come to work every day and be with people that I really would call my family, and also being a part of something that I believe is legacy. You know, it's legendary, and people can watch our show and relate to everybody. There's someone on this show that you can relate to that's in your house, your family, your mama, your uncle, sister. And it's something that I'll be proud that I'm a part of years from now. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, literally, I was going to say the same thing that Bree said. Coming to work every day is a blast. As you can see, just us laugh. This is like literally on set, just all day, cracking jokes, just laughing all day, having each other's back. It's really a huge family atmosphere. And it's like what Javinar said, it's definitely not cutting grass. Like we have a blast with each other on and off set. And I'm just proud to be a part of a show like this. It's history making.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the biggest thing is quality. And you know, we spend a lot of quality time together, getting to know each other, you know, and work is not work. You know, we're collectively putting our heads together and making a machine run. So I just appreciate, you know, the people on this call for real, just as people, you know, being good. Shit.
Right on. Ditto to everybody. And I'm a strong believer in building. And I just feel like, you know, a lot of times, like I said earlier, you know, I work on a lot of sets. I do a lot of theater. And, you know, a lot of times you work with people, you don't know if you're going to work with them again, or you don't know if the relationship is going to be whatever. But I have to be honest. And I'm talking about y'all from the network readings in the morning, you know, all the way with everybody that's on there from the top producer on down to the last person. It's like, it's truly a joy. And I really don't take it for granted. And I just feel really lucky and blessed to be able to work with really, really dope, creative performing artists, producers, casting directors, you know, directors of photography, assistant directors, all these great people that come in, the playwrights, and the collaborative force that we have every day when we come in here weekly is something to really look forward to. And I just look forward to seeing Theo, you know, 10 years from now, and Pat 10 years, and us looking at each other and be like, hey, we did it. What y'all up to? Come pick me up on the roof and your helicopter, Theo. We're going to go to Cuba. And we're going to have, you know what I'm saying? Then at 5 o'clock, we got to make sure that, you know, Pat get back to, you know, Brazil, because she got a show down there that she's doing. Oh, that's right. Briyana, she got a set out there in Europe. She's shooting this film with Martin Scorsese somewhere. And Brandon, he got this set, man. Oh, my God. He is killing it in China right now. It's like we everywhere, you know what I'm saying? And I just love that. I love looking at each and every one of y'all all the time and knowing that, hey, this ain't the last time I'm gonna rock with these people in this sandbox that we call film.
Yeah.
I truly believe that we have a relationship that will last. And you know, that's one of the things that I said from day one. I said, this ain't Hollywood. We all gonna come here, we're gonna like each other.
Yeah.
And so one thing I never said, this is my show. I said, this is our show, because I can't do it without y'all.
Yes.
So we're all stars.
Yes.
Only different is my trailer bigger and I get to eat first. Because I go to catering.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
Oh, they be playing around, child. I get the caterer. They ain't got time to be playing with them while they praying and yoga matting and stuff. And P over there trying on his jewelry. I get to the catering, okay?
Hey, we all got our process, Pat. We all got our process.
But I love working with them. I tell you, I don't think it's a better casting show. And I know we the only show that BET got that don't fight. They're gonna get on me for saying that. We don't have no drama, baby. We like Mary J. Blige over there. No drama. All right, I might be lying right there. I might be lying.
Woo, boy.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes, exactly. On behalf of the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, I want to thank you all for being here, for having this conversation and sharing your experiences, your process, and above all, your craft with your fellow performers. So thank you all so much, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.